Welcome to One Book, One Review.
Today's book is Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children by Ransom. It is a fascinating book that appears to be written around various photographs. During the course of the story, many people and situations are described. The protagonist is frequently shown pictures to support a report of someone or something. These images are also printed in the book. For this alone, it would be worth buying the book, but it also has a gripping story that keeps your eyes glued to the pages and parts. The novel is about 16-year-old Jacob, who had a close relationship to his grandfather. When Jacob was a child, his grandpa Portman used to tell him stories about his own childhood. He grew up in a time of war and had to flee his country to the safety of a children's home in Wales. The stories he told of his friends there and his adventures after he left them were very intriguing to the young boy. But as Jacob grew older, he realized how unbelievable they were and started to question their validity. It is not until his grandfather's death that Jacob discovered the truth behind the stories he was told as a child. When he tries to learn more about his grandfather's past, an adventure begins that changes his boring life and opens the door to a different world altogether. Even though I thought the novel fascinating and the turn of events surprised me more than once, I have to admit there was an obstacle to the reading pleasure as well. The narrative voice. Jacob is the narrator of the story, and he recounts the events from a future point of time, but it is not completely clear when and how old he is then. Most of the time I had the impression he is supposed to still be a teenager or a young man shortly after the conclusion of his adventure. The narrative voice mirrors that at times. At others, it is too grown up, too wise. The things he says are interesting, and his observations are well phrased, which is not credible for a teenage boy. This discrepancy or confusion between the narrative voice and the narrator kept me at a strange distance to the story and slowed down the reading process somewhat for me. Nonetheless, I think this is a good novel and an intriguing first book. The narrative in combination with the vintage photography is sure to create a unique reading experience, and I'm curious to see if there will be more of Jacob's adventures in the future. I sure hope so. Next, I'm reading Wish You Were Here by Graham Swift. Thanks for watching One Book, One Review.